Hello and welcome back to Merseybeat Gardening, here in the heart of Liverpool. Not far from the heart anyway. Yeah, we're doing something a bit different today. We're doing a cookery thing. We often get asked on our channel and through Instagram, what do we do with our produce? How do we cook it? How do we process gluts of things and stuff like that? You know. And there's many ways we do this, and some of our favourite ways are through making stews and soups. And over this winter time, we've been doing a lot of that kind of stuff. You know, making stews and soups, and we tend to do the really simple one pot dishes. So these are as simple as we can make them, and the most nutritious as well. You all know, right? When that pot comes out, you know you're going to eat the same thing for day after day after day, and it's usually some lovely stew or something like that. So we've been doing many of those. We've been trying them out, and we're going to use them in this forthcoming series, this cookery series. So we've got our one pot. Whoops. Our one pot. Today we're going to be making some lovely pumpkin soup. This is a Big Mac's pumpkin on the plot. It keeps well, really well. Remember, it's February now, and it's kept all winter. And we've also got a butternut squash, so we're going to throw that in as well. This is a recipe it's based upon an 18th century cookbook, and it's from 1769, and it's French. It's a French pumpkin soup. It's as near to the recipe as we can make it. It's not absolutely 100%, but it's as near to the recipe that we can make it. I'll just introduce you to some of the ingredients that we're going to be needing, okay? There's no exact rule as to the quantity of the ingredients, because obviously it's pumpkin, it's homegrown, right off the allotment. The sizes are going to be different, the quantities are going to be different, and so it's about feel. Does it feel like it's enough, really? Okay, so we've got our pumpkin, we've got our butternut squash, which there are two ways you can prepare this. You can roast it, you can cut it up and roast it, or you can just basically cut it up, cut out the seeds and stuff, and dice it and put it in the soup, which is the way we're going to do it today, because that's the traditional way of doing it. Now, this is a posh soup, by the way. This is something it's not a peasant food, but this is something you would be fed if you were sitting at the French court in the 1800s. It's a posh soup, so it's got some ingredients that common people, peasantry, if you like, would not have access to. So it's a posh version of pumpkin soup. So we start with the pumpkin, the squash. We've got here a handful of carrots. We've got some celery, butter, very important, cream, double cream, one onion, some milk, some salt and pepper. This is a bit different. Eggs. Got some eggs that are going to go in it. We've got some honey. We're going to put that in as well. Coriander, ground coriander, and some nutmeg. Also, the most important ingredient to this, some lovely crusty bread. So that's about it. What I'll do is, as we're going along, and I'll flash them up again just to remind you. So I suppose we should just crack on with it, eh? What do you think? So Catherine has reported for duty and nominated herself to prepare the vegetables. So the first thing we need to do is cut the onions, remove the peel, and the onions are a very important part of this recipe. They bring out the flavours of all the other ingredients, and as they are for any stew kind of dish. Normally we'd be using onions that we've grown on the plot, and we'd still have them in storage at this time of year. But we had such a bad crop last year that these are actually, we're just using shop-bought onions here. So just roughly cut them up. You don't have to be too precise. I forgot to mention also we put a garlic in here. That was one of our homegrown garlics that we, just one clove, a single clove of garlic. Top and tail the carrots and peel them as well. You don't have to peel them, by the way. The French don't tend to peel many of their vegetables. The peelings can actually be used to make a lovely vegetable stock, and you can do this with all the offcuts from your vegetables, which I think I'll vlog in a future vlog. Chop them, slice them, or you can dice them. It's up to you, really. There's something really therapeutic about watching people cook, isn't there, don't you think? So it is handy to have some bowls for these jobs. Get yourself organised in the kitchen. It just makes things so much easier. Especially if you're not very organised at cooking. Anyway, chopped celery. Celery is a key ingredient, another key ingredient. It's not actually in this recipe, by the way. Carrots and celery are not in this recipe. But we like to add it anyway. It just adds to the flavour. Cut up your butternut squash and clear out any seeds stuff. Which there aren't many in these F1 hybrid varieties. This is a Hunter F1, and you can peel the outer casing off the butternut squash, but again, it's something that the French don't do. They don't tend to do this. They tend to bake it all in, obviously clean it, but just put it all in, just throw it in. Of course, in the 18th century, there would be no faffing about and wasting good food like this, The same with the pumpkin. It can be tough to get through, so watch your fingers. And open it up. Again, I think this is a F1 hybrid because we didn't find many seeds in there, just a bit of pulp in the centre. And do you know what? It's amazing how many pumpkins are wasted around Halloween time. People just buy them to make jack-o'-lanterns out of them, but they don't actually use them. And all that wasted food. Think about it. There's such a beautiful, delicate flavour to it as well. It is related to the melon, and it's got a melony smell about it when you open it up, and when you, when you cook them, it is like a savoury melon almost. We don't eat enough of them, I don't think. You should eat more pumpkins and squashes and stuff like that. But yeah, they're great. You're doing a good job of chopping that up there. This is the biggest part, actually, just the chopping up the pumpkin. I did read somewhere that pumpkins were actually a throwback to the dinosaurs. The giant pumpkins were actually food for giant, presently extinct dinosaurs. Amazing, that, isn't it? So here we go, all diced and ready to go into the pot. They look beautiful, lovely colours there. Next stage is, it says in the recipe butter, but it doesn't say how much butter to put in. So a big dollop of butter. Remember, we're going to get about 6 meals out of this. Splash of olive oil. I forgot to mention that at the start, that we put in a bit of olive oil and melt the butter on a medium heat, medium to warm heat. Saute the onions, that's the first thing, and do that for about 10 minutes. Let's start to smell really nice now. Mix in the celery and the carrots with the butter. This is our own addition to this recipe. Delightful. And then at this stage, add a tablespoon of salt to bring out the flavours. And pepper to taste, usually about half a teaspoon as you go along. Well, this is all going well. Catherine's doing a grand job, don't you think? If you want to see more of these videos, by the way, let us know in the comments below, because they're quite enjoyable to do, and we do try them out before we actually video them, just to make sure that they are edible. And this is from a French cookery book, remember, 18th century, and historically the French have been very good at cooking food, don't you think? Vegetable stock pot, again, not essential, but it just adds to the flavour. And about 2 litres of water, that's about 3 pints, just so it's under the, it doesn't come right to the top, we don't want it too soupy. About a tablespoon of honey, which adds a bit of sweetness to it all. Yeah, French sweet and savoury thing going on there, don't you think? So it's time to bring all the ingredients to the boil on full heat now, and we do that for about 10 minutes, just let it bubble away, and then turn it down to simmer for about an hour and a half. Okay, time flies when you're having fun, and it's the next day. Soup is always better, or soup and stews are always better the following day. So it's gone cold, and I'm just checking to see that all the vegetables are cooked and soft now, which seems to be the case, and it's time to blitz it. You can use a hand blender for this. I would recommend that you don't blend it into a paste. We don't want it absolutely uniform, like a tin soup or something like that. We need to have some body to the whole thing. It is a rustic dish after all, and so we need not to over blend it, but just to blend it enough. See, there's still lumps in there, and you need some texture into this dish. It does add to the overall feel. So measure out half a pint of milk. I'm using skimmed milk here, and stir it in to the cold soup, which is just super. Gently warm the mixture at a medium heat, not too hot, we don't want to boil it, and add your spices. A teaspoon of coriander ground, mix that in, and a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. It's starting to smell really nice as it's warming through. Here's the French bit really, because I'd never would have associated eggs with soup, but this recipe actually says 6 egg yolks, so we've compromised a bit and gone for 3. Apparently it's a thickening agent. It kind of thickens the soup as you gradually warm it through. It gives the soup a nice creamy, almost custardy texture to it. Nice and smooth flavour. Eggs. Only in France. But I've got to say, this is a great addition to the recipe, and also the colour is just gorgeous. It's so complimentary of the pumpkin. What do you think? So as it's warming up, you can actually feel the soup thickening up slightly. Cut your crusty bread, or you can use rolls, bread rolls, anything you want really. Traditionally, the French would have actually put the bread into a bowl and poured the soup on top of the bread. That's the way it was done in the 18th century. Everybody seems to have done it. Perfect for a winter's day in February. If you've enjoyed this video, then please let us know, and we'll see you in our next vlog, possibly on the plot somewhere. Don't forget to garnish with salt and pepper, by the way. Enjoy!